Hi and welcome to my channel. It is Karen here with you today. Today I'm sharing with you a design team project for ScrapFX. So to begin with, I'm working in my small dilutions journal on some pre-gessoed pages that I'm just adding a little bit of watercolour ground to. Now I've picked out my Dr. Phil Martin's Bombay inks here, and I'm going to put a little bit in my palette and squirt a little bit of water on it and get my paintbrush out and start painting it onto my page. Now previously I've dripped the inks directly onto my page and then put water on it, but that turned into a massive big mess. So I've since learned to put my inks in a palette. Yay! So there we go. So there's my first layer. And so I've got this wonderful rice paper here by Tanya, and I'm going to use this image here today. And I've also got some curly circle quote thingies here that I thought that I would pop in the background a little bit. And I've also got this one here, which is designed by Michelle Logan. Yeah, and that's really cool. It's just like a bunch of different squiggles, doodling, mark making on some rice paper. So I'm going to glue these down. So there goes my image by Tanya. So I'll get her glued down nice and good. Now I'm going to put this little bit of mark making in the background that was made by Michelle. I actually found this on the ScrapFX website. I hadn't seen it before, and I kind of fell in love with it and thought, yeah, I gotta have that. So yeah. So now that I've got that glued in and dry, I'm going to add another colour of my inks over the top just to help brighten up some of the colours that we've got happening there, and also to blend my rice papers into the background. You can still see the black marks and everything. Yeah, I'm just adding a little bit more colour and blotting away the excess. So now that that's dry, I've got out my wonderful pan pastels and I'm going to paint this girl's face with them. So I'm starting off with a skin colour, just building up some layers there so she looks like she's got skin. It's pretty much like using makeup actually, this stuff. It's really cool. So this one here is a soft purple that I'm putting in around the sides of the face, around the nose and the corner of the eye, and that's just to help to create a shadow. Now I've got a darker purple out to even enhance that a little bit more. There we go. And now I'm going to add in some hot pink to her cheeks, and I'm going to blend that out a little bit so it looks a little bit more natural, although she's not natural. But anyway, alright, so now I've zoomed in because I'm going to start doing her eyes, well, one and a half eyes. And to start off with, I've got my Life of Colour paint pen there in white, and I've just coloured in the whites of her eyes there, and I'm going to draw in a little bit more of an iris on the other part where it just looked a little bit weird. So yeah, so I'm just going over those lines with some black pen because I kind of lost them when I used my pastels. That's the thing with pastels, they cover up the black lines, so I'm just drawing some of the squiggly lines back in, and I'm just using a Uniball roller pen, nothing fancy. Alright, so now I've got some Intense pencils, so I'm going to add some colour into her irises, and they turned out a little bit blue, more blue than what I was expecting, but that's okay. Now I'm going to add some pinks and reds into her lips, again with my Intense pencils, and just wet that to activate it. So woohoo, she's looking pretty flash now. So once I get those little puddles of water dry, I can move on to the next part. And it kind of leaked a little bit onto the whites of her eyes, so I've just gone over that again with my pen. Around the mouth, just with the Uniball pen. And what's that? Oh, that's a mermaid marker. I decided to use those to add some colour into her hair. Yeah, add in some extra details. I don't know about the line on her forehead, but that was there, so I went with it, but I kind of regretted it when I did it. But anyway, doesn't matter. Now I'm adding a few more pencil strokes in with my intense pencils, going over those eyes again, because I managed to muck them up again. So there we go. Add a little bit of highlight, a few little lines, extra highlights into her hair and around her face. I've activated that intense pencil that I've put in her hair just with a spritz of water, putting in some little pinks of her eyes, and now I've got a big white Posca pen to add some white highlights in, but it didn't really overly work. I mean, it did, but it didn't. And then I decided, well, she really needs some eyeshadow, so I got out my Jane Davenport palette pastels here, and I'm giving her a bit of eyeshadow, which looked really cool, except I covered over her eyelashes, so I had to draw them in again. Alright, so I have a stamp here from Scrap FX. It's called Zebra Stripes, I think, circles, something like that, and a archival ink. I've got a little heart stencil and just some white snowflake paint there, just to add in a little bit of white and make the page pop a little bit. And I've also found these sentiment stamps from Art by Marlene, and it says, let people see the real, raw, imperfect, flawed, quirky, crazy, funny, scared, serious, beautiful, magic human being that you are. Cool. So I'm just putting a few squiggly lines around those hearts, a few little white splats, and that's my page. So I really hope you have enjoyed my quick Scrap FX adventure here today. As always, please like and subscribe, and until next time, I'll see you soon. Bye.